Hello, my name is Captain Jones. I'm Troop Commander for 4 Troop, Zulu Company, Royal Marine Cadets. This presentation is about Lance Corporal Henry Eric Harden, a Royal Army Medical Corps medic and a recipient of a Victoria Cross during World War II. So why make a presentation about an Army medic to Royal Marine Cadets? As the Victoria Cross is the highest award of bravery to the face of the enemy, it's important that such acts of bravery are not forgotten. Henry Harden was a commando on one of the 8 Victoria Crosses awarded to commandos. As Royal Marines, you get taught about the 10 VCs of the Corps. Lance Corporal Harden served with 4-5 Commando in World War II and saved the lives of Royal Marines. For your advancement test, you do not need to know this Victoria Cross award, but it's only right and fitting that you know Henry's story. We'll cover his life up to January 1945, the 23rd of January 1945, and the remembrance of Henry Harden. By the end of this presentation, you will know Henry's story, and you'll also have some insight into the bravery of medics in all theatres of war. In World War II, Henry Eric Harden was a medic in the Royal Army Medical Corps, serving with 4-5 Commando. He was awarded the Victoria Cross posthumously after his act of bravery which took place in January 1945. He was 32 years old, 1 month short of his 33rd birthday. In 1941, during World War II, soldiers for the Army and the Royal Marines formed the Commandos. This continued until late 1945, when the Royal Marines took over the main responsibility for the role and the training of British Commandos. During World War II, there were 8 Victoria Crosses awarded to Commandos. As you know, one was up to a Royal Marine, Corporal Thomas Hunter of 4-3 Commando, who was awarded his VC after the attack at Lake Comacchio in the spring of 1945. We all know the Corps has 10 Victoria Crosses. The Royal Army Medical Corps has 28, including 9 from World War I and 1 from Rorke's Drift in 1879. That was made famous by the film Zulu. Henry Harden was a Kent boy, born and raised in a small terraced house in Northfleet, an area dominated by a large cement factory, who was the major employer of the area. Henry was the 7th of 8 children living in number 44 Factory Road. These houses are quite traditional for South East London and North Kent, sometimes 3 bedrooms if you're lucky, but many, including number 44, with only 2 bedrooms upstairs and 2 bedrooms downstairs. Imagine living in a 2 up, 2 down house with so many other people. Henry was a keen sportsman, excelling at swimming, tennis and football. He was also a keen musician, playing the violin. At the age of 10, he helped out in his brother-in-law's butcher shop. He eventually became a butcher, taking over the business when tragically his brother-in-law died. At the age of 12, he joined the St John Ambulance Brigade, where he became a cadet sergeant. This is where he met Maud Pullen, who he later married. As the war effort gathered pace in 1942, the 30-year-old Henry Harden was conscripted into the Royal Artillery. But as his medical aptitude became realised, he was soon transferred to the Royal Army Medical Corps, where he served in a field ambulance unit. Henry soon became restless with inactivity of service at home. In November 1943, he volunteered for the Commandos and was posted to Achnacarry Commando Training Depot, situated in the Highlands of Scotland. A comrade of the same intake, Marine Keith Thompson, later also a 4-5 Commando, remembers sharing billets with Harden, who says he was a quiet, quick-witted individual with a keen sense of humour. Commando training successfully completed. Harden was posted as a medical orderly to Able Troop 4-5 Commando in January 1944, where he and the rest of the Commando commenced almost 6 months of training for the D-Day landings, which took place later in June. After the D-Day landings, 4-5 Commando returned to the UK for replacements and refitting. In Europe, the Germans fell back, but in December 1944 they made their last offensive on the Western Front. Known as the Battle of the Bulge, the German troops advanced 50 miles into the Allied lines, creating a deadly bulge in the defences. The Germans were defeated by mid-January and retreated. 4-5 Commando's first action after return to Europe was their involvement in Operation Blackcock. The object was to clear German troops from the Ruhr Triangle formed by the towns of Roermond, Sittard and Heisberg. They were given the job of crossing the Juliana Canal and driving through Maasbroek in order to capture the town of Lyne. On a freezing night of the 22nd of January 1945, The German forces were in full retreat out of Maasbracht. 4-5 Commando pushed forward to occupy the small village of St. Duisburg, set up a headquarters behind the local church. In the morning of the 23rd, Royal Marines of the 1st Commando Brigade began their advance on Maasbracht. The streets were empty and it's eerily quiet. They soon reached the centre of Maasbracht. Able Trooper 4-5 Commando was ordered forward along the station road to occupy the railway station. All went according to plan until the troop reached the crossroads. A few minutes later, all hell broke loose. They were trapped in an ambush. Able Troop came under intense machine gun and mortar fire from battle-hardened German paratroopers. The men of 4-5 Commando looked desperately for cover in the open field. They lay in the ice-cold snow and took casualties. Able Troop's position was made worse by a well-placed German sniper. This added to what seemed a helpless position. The position then was this. A part of Able Troop was pinned down in open ground and had taken several casualties. The troop's position was exposed and was being exploited by some well-placed snipers. A party under protection of the medical flag had attempted to extract the wounded, but they had been attacked by the Germans against the Geneva Convention. Lance Corporal Harden had been observing the unfolding events and insisted that he go out and try to help recover more of the wounded, armed with only a pistol for self-protection. On all fours, he scurried forward a distance of 120 metres on his own, across flat open ground, while the area was being swept by heavy and concentrated fire. He calmly bound up the wounds of one officer and 2 Marines. He picked up Marine Wheeler and carried him back to the headquarters single-handedly. After Lance Corporal Harden's initial success, 2 other attempts to rescue the wounded were made, one by tanks and one by the aid of smokescreen, but both failed. Although he was told not to go back, he argued that they would all die out there in the freezing cold, and he went out again with a stretcher and 2 other Marines, Havel and Mason. They reached Marine Wales and placed him on a stretcher. On the way back, Marine Wales was hit again and was killed. Lance Corporal Harden was wounded in his side from flying shrapnel. After a short rest, Lance Corporal Harden, with stretcher bearers Havel and Mason, went out a 3rd time to rescue Lieutenant Corey. They got to his position, moved him onto a stretcher, bullets were flying all around. Just 40 minutes from safety, Henry Harden was mortally wounded, a sniper hit direct to the head. Due to the intense enemy fire, attempts to rescue Henry's body had to wait until the cover of darkness. His friends just had to watch and wait. When Henry performed his courageous act, there was only 105 days left of World War II. He was married to Maud with 2 children, Bobby and Julie, and is buried in Niederwert War Cemetery in Holland. In Gravesend Town Council, Corporal Harden is commemorated by a painting in the council chambers. The road is named after him in Northfleet, and the local St John's Ambulance Brigade headquarters has a hall named after him. And at number 44 Factory Road, Northfleet, a plaque was placed on the house. He is also remembered in Holland for his courageous act, and a street and bridge have been renamed in his honour. A permanent memorial was erected near the spot where he fell, and there's an annual remembrance service by the town. So that's the story of Henry Eric Harden, a Kent-born hero who was a commando, served with 4-5 Commando, had close friends that were Royal Marines, and saved the lives of Royal Marines. There are only 10 VCs for the Corps, but could this be an honorary 11th?